Hello food fans, it's dinner time, and it's good to see you again too. We've been baking all day. You probably saw those videos. The oven's still on at 350, and the reason why it's still on is because our dinner tonight requires it. It is stuffed bell peppers. We got the meat in the background. I'm going to talk about the background this time first, as you can see, because I always forget it. The meat's in the background. It's been cooking both sides of the ground beef. It's already been pre-seasoned by me earlier. Each side of the meat's been cooking for about 10 minutes each, so it's about 20 minutes into it right now. So that's what you're going to see in about a second here, once we get done with everything up here. So, the seasoning, first of all, that's mixed in with the ground beef that it's simmering in right now, is steak seasoning. So, steak seasoning anywhere, it's usually all the same. We're using very little of it, which you'll see, but enough to make sure that it definitely has that taste, which is basically we're taking ground beef, we're adding steak seasoning to it to enhance it and make it taste kind of like something between ground beef and steak, so it ends up being pretty nice. So that's our seasoning. We have here a lot of stuff going on, one thing at a time. We have 9 bell peppers. The bell peppers were 69 cents per pound, so not too bad here on the peppers. An onion, it's probably about 15 cents for that onion. Whole thing of mushrooms was $1. By the way, the mushrooms and the bell pepper tops have already been chopped up, which I'm about to show you how to do this in a second. So most of this work's already been done to save time in this video, so that's that. I saved a few of everything like I always do to show you what I did for the majority of work that I've already done. So anyway, bell peppers, 69 cents a pound. Onion, 15 cents. It was like, I don't know, same thing, like 3 pounds for $1 or something like that. All this stuff, as always, is at Valley Produce. The mushrooms were $1, again, Valley Produce for the whole little box here. Again, most of it's chopped up. Optional. Sometimes now I throw an optional thing into these videos. This time it's a jalapeno. You want to spice it a little bit, throw a jalapeno in. I'm going to do it because I like it a little bit spicy. Technically it's 1.5 onions, somewhere in there. I already had a half onion laying out, so I just decided to use it, so a little heavy on the onion this time. Whatever. I wouldn't go over probably 2 onions, but anything between 1 and 2 is fine. The ground beef was on sale for $2.29 a pound. We're going to be using about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of it, somewhere in there. You guys can do the math, we're still in range. And 3 options for the cheese, but in this particular case I would say go with the cheddar cheese first, especially because it's typically on sale. This is my last one. And I'm also using cheddar cheese tonight for a lot of reasons. One, it's the best thing for this particular dish, but the other options are pepper jack and Gouda cheese. So cheddar, pepper jack, or Gouda cheese is all good for this. They all have the right flavor. I'm going to put, and I'd also say whichever one's on sale, try them out one at a time. So I'm going to put the Gouda and the pepper jack away, save it for something else we're going to do later on. So, moving on. We kept our cheddar out here, which again was $1.29. I'm sorry, $1.99 a pound. I'm going to use this one this time because there's a sale this coming Tuesday for cheddar again. So as a heads up, well, I get them every time I think of something, I say it on a video randomly. Whenever you know there's an upcoming sale on something, also let that to some extent dictate which thing you're going to use. For example, in this case, the next cheese on sale that I know of is going to be the cheddar, so the first one I'm going to use up is going to be the cheddar. Now, if it would have been the pepper jack, I probably would have used the pepper jack tonight. So, little things like that those little small points will end up playing into the way you cook and everything once you get into this more and more and more. So anyway, so that's your cheese. So let's do a couple of these bell peppers together. And hold on a second. I'm going to calm that down back there to make sure I don't lose track of it. Okay, bell peppers. This is how it's done. Obviously 7 of them are already done. You cut off the tops of the bell peppers right about there, about a 1/4 inch or so down far enough to where it stays intact, both sides, and you're there. Maybe a little bit more than a 1/4 inch, but anyway, somewhere like that, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. So that's done. You gut the inside of the bell pepper. Just reach right in there, grab it, rip it out. They call it the membrane of the bell pepper. Just kind of pull apart little pieces of it and get the membrane out, and you're left with all the seeds. Now what you do next, you take it over to your tap water, and this is actually what I wanted to say this time. Every time you clean something, which I've already cleaned all this stuff earlier, but every time you clean something, I realize I never said this before, I just do it automatically without thinking. I use tap water because it's chlorinated to clean stuff. So anytime you're washing stuff out, like I'm getting the seeds out here and I'm washing the insides, but more importantly the outside, or doing whatever, you'll notice that I use tap water. I don't use the tap water for cooking because I'm going to eat that. But because it's chlorinated, for cleaning purposes, I do use the tap water, typically on cold, to clean stuff. So I'm not eating like this anyway. Clean it up. And do the other one too. Clean up a little bit, get your hands in there, knock out those seeds. Put your top somewhere. Again, we're going to gut this thing. That's good enough. You want to go a little bit further, grab a little bit more of it, but you don't have to. Get the majority of the membrane out, bring it over, and just wash out the seeds. So, tap water, cold, meant for cleaning. Your filtered water for cooking and drinking. Next heads up before I forget it. All of 6 of these, and I did this intentionally, 6 of these bell peppers have been in the refrigerator 7 days. 3 of them have been in the refrigerator for 3 days. There's a few things that determine how hard or soft the bell peppers are going to be when you eat them. And different people like them different ways. One of them, and notice none of these are bad, these are all perfectly fine. The last 3 I cut up were the ones that are 3 days old. The ones I've already cut up before you even started watching the video are the ones that are 7 days old. But they've all been kept properly in the refrigerator, so they're fine. Now, that's one thing that determines how hard or soft they're going to be when you actually bite into them. You don't want the vessel to be these vessels to be too weak, otherwise it can't hold the contents that we're about to put into it. So anything between 3 to 7 days is fine, but keep it refrigerated the second you get it home from Valley Produce or wherever you're shopping, similar to that, wherever you live at. By the way, these places I use, I never mentioned this also, is mainly California, Nevada, Arizona, and some of the locations. So if you don't have one by you, hopefully there will be one by you soon. If not, you need to find the equivalent wherever it is you live at. But you get the point by going to these websites and checking them out. You understand what they're all about and what they're offering, so that way you can find their equivalent where you're at. Okay, so the second thing that dictates how well the bell peppers hold up as far as hard or soft, and again, you'll like them one way or another. You'll like whichever one you like based on your preference. The second thing that softens them is the heat in the oven and how long you bake them for. So one, if you like them really soft, leave them in your fridge more towards 7 days. If you like them harder, when you crunch, when you bite into them, you want it some little bit of a crunch when you're biting into it. They'll all be kind of soft because you'll bake them, but if you want a little bit more hard, a little harder, then 3 days, a little softer, 7 days. The bake time is 30 minutes to 60 minutes. So again, if you want the bell peppers harder, do it for only 30 minutes. You want them softer, do it for 60 minutes. Lastly is the oil that comes off of the meat. The more of that drips or goes into these little vessels also will make the bell peppers softer as you're cooking them. So the less oil and essentially more drier that is the contents are when you put them in, it'll give off less oil and you won't have a puddle on the bottom, so that way it'll stay drier and harder. So 3 things that kind of determine how hard or soft they are when you eat it. You're going to find out yourself when you do this, so go ahead and do it, and you'll decide, well, that was too hard or too soft for me, I want to do it the other way now. So, and try it out and figure out what you like best, because that's the point of the show, the point of the channel. I think that's pretty much it. Again, the oven's already on 350, which is where it should be. That's from baking. So here we go with the next part. How to cut these, how did we get these bell pepper pieces? Well, we didn't take the bell peppers themselves and cut them all up, because we need those obviously for the stuffed bell peppers. We took the tops, which are useless now, except for this. You cut them as you turn them, and this becomes your bell pepper pieces that are in that bowl over there. Try to make them relatively small. They do have to fit inside this thing, inside these little bell pepper vessels. And same with the onion in a second, and the mushroom. Everything is going to be not super small, not like some of the videos you've done, but also not super chunky either. Do the mushrooms, actually mushrooms last. Do these onions real quick. Again, I already have a half onion in the bowl already. Do a whole onion. I wouldn't do more than 2 onions. Onions, get the one of your choice, brown, white, whatever. Probably whichever one's on sale. Unless you only like one, then get that one, because places like Value Produce, they're all at a good price anyway, so. Pretty thin. Slice it up pretty tight, something like that. To the point where you know they'll fall into their little crevices in the bell pepper. If you have too much stuff when you're done, which is very possible. Got a whole bowl of mushrooms and bell peppers and chopped up onions. If you have too much when we're all done with all this, no big deal. These kind of ingredients, we're going to probably go into something else, so, or could go into something else, so that's fine. Take our excess and use it for tomorrow's meal. Alright, almost to the fun one. wondering to see me lose my finger. Now you chop these everything obviously at whatever speed you want to go at, and whatever. You just saw me do those, but like, and all these things can be chopped however you want to do it, but the point is with whatever you're doing, just get it small enough. That's pretty much it. Lastly, for me, just a little bit of spice. I'm kind of glad that happened. I didn't check this earlier, and I should have, but good, mistakes happen. That is a jalapeno gone bad. I grabbed the wrong bag or something from where I grabbed it from. So, anyway, that jalapeno, things happen. I guess I'm not going spicy tonight. At the very least, I guess I'm going to go check. See, that's the only one, which I'm going to because I like my spice. And again, chlorinated water, tap water for cleaning. And we're good. So whatever happened with that jalapeno, I don't know, but that was a dud. Here we go. Not me hauling butt, I can get away with it on the mushrooms. I don't try that garbage with jalapenos or harder things like this. All right. We are ready take this stuff over there. I'm going to put this stuff away, well, this stuff away. Alright, let's go finish this meat up over here. I'm going to dump this stuff in the meat and get this meat going. Now again, remember this has been cooking for about 20 minutes, 10 minutes each side. Oh yeah, I forgot something. Stay right there. I saved this on purpose so I could show you, because you didn't see how much seasoning I put in there. I put, from the very beginning, there's been seasoning in this pan, so that way the meat can absorb it. I only put about 2/3 of it though, that way you could see me do the other third, so you can kind of figure out how much seasoning altogether was supposed to go in there. So this is the other third. So it's actually somewhat heavy on seasoning, and this is going to be what's responsible for a lot of the flavor on this dish. And I might even go a little bit more, but you have to make your own judgment on this. Some people like a lot of spice, some people like it mild, whatever. But somewhere in this ballpark. You just saw me do a third. The other 2/3 were earlier, about 20 minutes ago. And the only flavor you're going to get from this dish mainly that's strong is going to be from the seasoning and also from the cheddar cheese that's melted on top of the bell pepper. Other than that, everything else kind of is a distant second as far as what hits your taste buds. Alright, it's on medium for right now because I want to keep talking to you guys. So here comes, if you're going to do jalapenos, put them in by themselves first. Let those jalapenos start doing their thing. We're going to go high, so that way this video finishes on time. Notice I've also been chopping up the meat chunks. All these are going to fall into the bell peppers. All right. Next up, our onions. All of it, maybe. Probably not. So looks like we're getting kind of full here. So again, use your judgment, like I said earlier. If you get this far and you're like, man, that's a lot of onions. Alright. Stop, save some for something else. You'd be surprised how quickly you'll use it on something else. Same with this. You got your mushrooms and your bell peppers. There's a lot in here, you can kind of tell already. So, get the majority out. But maybe you save some for an unknown reason. And we're going to. So that's what we're saving. This will be enough. As always, this pot's been has had about a 1/4 inch of water in it since the very beginning, an 1/8 inch to a 1/4 inch in the bottom. That's how we do our oil here. I maintain that, but now that 1/4 inch is going to be kind of stressed a little bit because now it has to take on all this food. And basically at this point, we are going to, here a little bit, we're going to cut for a while because all this is going to be for a bit, for about 10 minutes probably, give or take, is us cooking this. The meat's already been basically pre-cooked for about 20 minutes now, so we're okay there with the meat. But now the seasoning and the jalapenos and everything has to kind of, everything here has to kind of become one. And so we're going to monitor it, make sure there is enough water, but at the end of the 10 minutes or so, it could be 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15, whatever it is, just use common sense. Whenever that is, we'll come back, but when you do this yourself, you try to time it where you don't have so much water that you got to sit there forever and let it evaporate. Instead, just put a little bit at a time until you get good at this, to where in about 10 minutes or so there'll be very, very, very little water left, and you basically have the end result with only a very little bit of water and the meat oil, and we're ready to go right from there to inserting it this into the bell pepper. So we'll see you guys in about 10 minutes or so. Hey guys, we're back. Okay, it's been like, I don't know, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that. I haven't really been paying attention, but something close. So, before we go back there, we got our bell peppers prepped on the cookie tray. Notice what I'm doing, I've already done some of them. I'm putting a layer of the cheddar cheese on the bottom. That way when you put the contents on top of it, you got cheese on the bottom and the top. It just tastes even better that way. So I got cheese all over the place. One of the coolest things about this dish is it's just super cheesy. So you got about a half a pound of cheddar to distribute however you please. I would say take about a third of it and put it on the bottom. And save 2/3 for the top. I would say it's more important to have more on the top than the bottom, but it is kind of cool to have some on the bottom because then no matter what bite you're taking, you're still going to taste the cheese. And I probably have, yeah, I got another few pieces to kind of just put wherever I think I should. Extra on the big ones. Anyway, you get the point. Do whatever you think, but use up about a third of your cheese. Fill in the bottoms. Now, okay, now let's do the add the contents, the meat and everything, the meat mix. So actually, you know what? Why don't you guys come on over here and we'll do this. Again, this is like 12, 15 minutes later. It's been on high the whole time except for right now. And see, we're down to pretty much that. That's what I was talking about. There's a little bit of water left, but it's basically oil water. It's very thin. It's not even 1/8 of an inch high right now. It's less than that, maybe a 1/16 of an inch high. So, too much longer after this, we would have gone too far. So, somewhere around here you stop. You might crank it up real quick. One last little whatever. But this is our mix. By the way, during the last 12 minutes or so, I did add extra seasoning because I like a lot of seasoning in this dish. So, but again, that's up to you. I'm going to burn off. Ouch. I'm going to burn off a little more of this water. Try to play hockey with your hot oil like I just did. Just kicked an oil puck right into my hand. That was neat. As I'm using a spoon like this, another trick I've learned is even using a spatula, because you can dig in with a spatula and then flip all the meat at once, but I kind of go back and forth with the two ideas. Depends on what you're making. But kind of a side note, tip. A lot of meat, certain meats you cook, it's cool to kind of spatula and go flip all at once. That way you know you've turned over everything and you're browning the other side then. You're not screwing around doing a little piece by piece. But in this case, I'm going to use a spoon right now because I know in a second here I'm going to use a spoon anyway to dunk all this stuff inside of the bell peppers. Another optional ingredient that I'm almost about to go and grab maybe is a little bit of garlic. which you've seen me use before, but I think this time we had enough garlic. I think I'm going to leave it out this time, but you can, it's another one that works well with this dish, so if you want to, then go for it. Okay, that's good enough. Having a little bit of oil in there is going to be fine. Now basically, we actually will stay over here. I'm just going to move this back. Bring our bell peppers over. I think I'll be smart about this. Grab one of these guys instead. Bigger spoon. So, obviously, whether you're making 9 or 12 of these, either one would have worked, depending on how much meat you have. Just try to guesstimate, divide it up here, however you think. So, 9 bell peppers, 9 scoops. Make sure you completely miss a bell pepper totally and get it all over the place, like I just did. That's cool. And yeah, some are big, some are small, but whoever's eating, just split it up evenly. Everyone gets a big one. Yeah, the big ones have more meat in it, but it's fair. Everybody gets one. Also notice, unlike other recipes, I'm not draining the oil out of this pan. It's all going in there. I mean, I'm not trying to grab all the oil, but I'm definitely not trying to drain this pan either. So whatever it is, it's all going in here. And if I did it right with the bell peppers, they'll hold the contents pretty well without completely falling apart. Okay. That is pretty much the gist of it. If you lost a piece, like I did down there, grab it. And here in a second, I'm going to grab the other 2/3 of the cheddar cheese. Which again, this was a ½ pound of cheddar cheese. And just lay it on there. It's kind of cool if it overlaps a little bit, not too much. It'll end up rolling down the sides, which has a looks kind of nice. Got 1 slice per, and then a little extra over. Beautiful. Okay. And our extras usually go with our big boys right here, whichever ones are the biggest. The small ones, some small pieces. And lastly, You guys admire that for a bit. It is time to slap this in the oven, which has already been preheated to 350. And we're going to leave that in there between 30 minutes and an hour. Again, 30 minutes if you want it more on the hard side as far as the bell peppers, more on the hour side if you want it softer. I recommend actually going maybe on your first time, maybe 45 minutes. That way you can decide from that point forward in your life whether or not you like it harder or softer. So go right in the middle like we usually do at 45 minutes, you're good. I'm going to personally go this time in a half an hour because I've already kind of decided that's where I like it. So anyway, I will see you guys in a half an hour or so. Alright guys, we're back. It's the end of the, actually 45 minutes I went with for the stuffed bell peppers. I checked it at 30, decided to give it an extra 15 minutes. Pretty much I told you to do it anyways, 45 minutes, so that's what it ended up being. Something else I forgot to say, a lot of times traditionally on stuffed bell peppers, people will add rice to it, which is, as you see with a lot of my videos, rice is always an optional on a lot of things, including this. Actually, I think it's great actually with rice, but I didn't feel like it this time. So, if you want to add rice, like in the pot of rice video, make some rice, throw it in the pan towards the last 5 minutes or so. So make the rice separate is the easiest way to do it. Then throw the rice in, only a little bit of rice by the way, but then throw the rice in with the rest of everything. Last 5 minutes or so, get it mixed up, let it absorb some of the grease and whatever while you still have some water cooking. The other thing, besides the rice, that sometimes happens is, I'm drawing a blank right now. Well, the rice was the main thing, and for the life of me, I can't remember what the other thing is. So I guess it's not that important. So forget it. So let's go ahead and get these things out, and I'll show you what it looks like. Maybe I'll remember what it was I was trying to think of. And I did remember. It is basically tomato sauce and tomatoes or spaghetti sauce. One of the most common things that I did not put in here is the rice. Again, rice is always optional. You want it, mix it. The second thing that is also pretty common is using tomato sauce slash spaghetti sauce, whatever, and little pieces of diced tomatoes. So if you want to add that stuff too, as you can see, there is some room that is missing in all these guys. That would be the other stuff that I just mentioned. Especially if you're going for 12 of these bell peppers, then the rice adds some bulk to this and everything else. Now the reality is, in truth of this, I actually didn't feel like, one, I didn't feel like rice tonight. I didn't feel like the starch, so I left it out. And two, as far as the spaghetti sauce went, I wanted the seasoning, that steak seasoning, to really come out in this dish tonight. So I left out the spaghetti sauce on purpose because I didn't want to have that conflict. But again, these are all little variations that I've done in the past. Again, you'll find out which one you want to do. I recommend starting with this one, the ones I show you, and then mess around with other options in the future. In this case, the way I made it for you tonight, and what you're going to taste here is going to be strong on the seasoning without the rice and without the spaghetti sauce. But dinner's ready. It's been a long day in the kitchen. I'm ready to eat. Always good seeing you guys, but for right now I gotta go, and I'll see you guys next time.